Real-time Selenium interview questions and answers. How do you validate a broken link using Selenium? To validate broken links, the help of anchor tag or href attributes. Send the HTTP request for each link using HTTP URL connection and validate the response code. Here the code it is. How do you test a login page using Selenium? Navigate to the login page, enter valid or invalid credentials, validate success or failure messages. The code example here. How do you handle dynamic dropdowns on web page? Dynamic dropdowns load options based on user input or actions. Locate the dropdown element and interact using Selenium. How do you test pagination using Selenium? Navigate to the first page, iterate through each page using next button or page numbers, validate data on each page. It's already paid. Code example here. How do you automate a shopping cart scenario using Selenium? Add items to the cart, validate the cart contents, proceed the checkouts. The code example is here. How do you test image loading on a web page? Locate all images tags, validate the SRC attributes using sending HTTP request. Code example is here. How do you validate an iframe using Selenium? Switch to the iframe using switch to dot frame, interact with elements inside the iframe. Driver dot switch to dot frame, frame ID. After perform actions on in that frame, then coming back to default content. Driver dot switch to dot default content. How do you handle data pickers in Selenium? Locate the data pickers field and click it. Select the desired date using export or CSS selectors. Code example here like this. How do you perform database validation in Selenium? Establish a database connection using JDBC, executes SQL queries and fetch results, compare results with the data displayed on UI. How do you test page load performance using Selenium? Use Selenium in combination both browser performance tools, Chrome DevTool protocols. For example, using DevTools. What is the difference between Selenium RC and WebDriver? Selenium RC uses intermediate server to communicate, directly interact with the browser, requires specific server setup for each browser, supports multiple browsers without a server, slower due to intermediate server communication, faster due to direct browser communication, compared API with many commands, simple and intuitive APIs, cannot handle modern web technologies, can handle advanced web features like Ajax, etc. What is Gecko driver and why it is needed? Gecko driver is a proxy that allows Selenium WebDriver to communicate with Mozilla Firefox. It implements the W3C WebDriver protocol, enabling automation scripts to control Firefox. It is required because Firefox does not natively understand WebDriver commands. Gecko driver translates WebDriver API calls to browser-specific commands. What are headless browsers and why are they used? Headless browsers are web browsers without a graphical user interface. They execute web pages in the background. Why they are used? Faster execution since no GUI, no graphical user interface is rendered. Useful for scenarios like CI/CD pipelines, web scraping, or performance testing. Headless Chrome, example headless Chrome, headless Firefox. What is the purpose of WebDriver wait in Selenium? WebDriver wait is used to implement explicit waits to pass the execution of script until a certain condition is met or a timeout occurs. Purpose handles dynamic content loading, improves script scale stability by waiting for elements. How do you handle browsers back, and forward buttons in Selenium. You can simulate browser navigation using WebDriver's navigate methods like WebDriver.navigate.back, WebDriver.driver.navigate.forward. These are the navigation methods. What is fluent wait class and when they is used? Fluent wait is a type of explicit wait that allows you to define a maximum wait time, specific polling intervals, ignore specific conditions. For example, like this. When to use for elements that appear at unpredictable intervals. When you need to customize the polling. What is the significance of assertions in Selenium? Assertions verify that the application behaves as expected during automation. Hard assertions halt test execution if the assertion fails. A soft assertion continue test execution if the assertion fails. What is the purpose of driver.manage timeouts.selenium? This method set timeouts for various types of waits, implicit wait, page load timeouts, script timeout. How do you handle hidden elements in Selenium? Handling How do you handle hidden elements in Selenium? Hidden elements are not interactable, but you can use JavaScript to make them visible across their attributes directly. Code example like this. How do you verify HTTPS redirection in Selenium? To verify HTTPS redirection, navigate to HTTP URL, capture the current URL, and after redirection assert that if starts with HTTPS. Code example like this. థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ వాచింగ్. మొత్తం టోటల్గా 120 సెలీనియం క్వశ్చన్స్ కవర్ చేశాను. దీనికి ముందు వీడియోస్ కూడా చూడండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ.